everyone, it's your favorite coach, Betty with Nelson Career Curators. Welcome to our Instagram Live, which happens every Friday at 6 p.m. Last week we had a special guest. The week before we had a special guest. So this week we have another special guest. And we have the founder and CEO of Hubris Global Wealth Management. And today he is going to talk to us about the benefits of owning a business. So before we dive into this, why don't we find out just a little bit about our CEO and why you started Hubris Global Wealth Management. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much, and happy Juneteenth to everybody out there.
Happy Juneteenth.
Thank you guys for having me on today. So yeah, this is a great conversation. So why did I start Hubris? Well, the main reason is because I started to see that there was a great disparity out there between people's desire and them kind of having all of the tools that they needed in their tool belt to not only just create businesses, but to have them become actual wealth generators. And so I kind of went on this really long journey to try to figure out, how could I put together a vehicle that would support people along the way and give them the information, the systems, and the solutions that they needed to grow.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So how old or how young is Hubris Global Wealth?
Hubris is almost 2 years old.
Oh, wow. So, congratulations.
Hubris will be 2 in July.
2 in July.
So the company birthday is coming up, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Fantastic. Well, we're so happy and excited to have you on here because we personally are clients of Hubris Global Wealth Management, and we've learned so much and continue to learn and grow thanks to the services that you offer. So one of the things that we want to share with our audience, and for those of you who are not familiar with Nelson Career Curators, we're a career coaching firm, and part of the services that we offer besides career coaching and resume writing, LinkedIn, more in depth, we basically help you. There's a component where we will help you with financial literacy, okay? And so we feel that your career management and your financial management go hand in hand. So just because you're earning a certain amount, you may not necessarily know how to manage it, and you may increase your salary, your income, your overall income. If you don't know how to manage your income at a basic level, then you're going to have difficulty even when you earn extra income. Yes. So we want to talk to you today about businesses, right? So last week we talked about starting a business and the importance of starting one. And today we want to talk about the benefits of having one. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, good. I've been waiting to have this conversation all week. So I don't know if we'll have time for all of them, but I came up with 7 benefits that I see to having a business, and we'll talk through a few of them, but let's have that conversation. So the number one benefit to me to having a business is it is an expansion or add-on to your legacy. How do you feel about that? So legacy, it definitely is an add-on to your legacy.
An add-on to your legacy. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So I'm going to let you define it, and then I'll say what I took away from that. Okay.
So what I mean by that, and let's just think about it really simply. Let's look at LinkedIn, for example. So say you're on LinkedIn, and we're going to talk about this kind of in the context of people who have a 9-to-5 job, and then they have a business on the side. So you're on LinkedIn, you have a profile, and you have your name on there, Eric McLeod. Great, right? Okay. So there's one field to that. But then there's another field to when you go on LinkedIn and you see Eric McLeod and you see Eric McLeod, founder and CEO. It automatically puts you in a different sort of category of people. It's a different feel to your profile. Even in your personal life, it's a different feel when you're able to say I'm the founder and CEO of a company.
Right.
And so, our goal is to have companies that exist over time. And so, yes, definitely something that would add on to what people know about you, what people think about you, and to your overall legacy in this world.
Yes, and also just establishing your legacy is something you can also pass on to your next generation.
Very true.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's what I took away from
Definitely. So that's the legacy piece, which I think is extremely important. Another area I would say is, you and I had this conversation this week where we talked about being a founder of a company.
Right.
And I think we talked about this for an hour. And so Betty and I were just talking about how, when you see founder and CEO, for us, what we get more excited about is when we see the word founder versus CEO. And the reason why is because, a CEO can be brought in and that's great. But when you see the word founder, it means that person created this organization or this company from scratch.
Absolutely.
They started something that did not exist previously. Or maybe there are companies or organizations out there that exist, but they've put their own spin on it and they brought their own into this world. And so being a founder is a really big deal. And I find a lot of value in that. I have high respect for all founders like yourself.
Thank you. And like yourself as well. Yep.
How do you feel about that founder piece?
Well, I feel like the founder piece is important, and it's different for me than to say CEO. Like you mentioned, you can bring someone in to be a CEO of your organization, but to be the actual founder and going through, just the basics. It's like raising a child, right? You see them from baby until they start, they grow and become this independent person. In this case, it would be your business, to see the growth and the people who believe in the vision and the mission, and just the hard work and the sacrifice that goes into building a business, finding a business. Yeah. It's very powerful.
Yes. So that was the second benefit. So number 3 that I had here was, I think this is important. So being able to build around your passion. So again, we're talking about this in the context because with Hubris, we have a lot of clients who have been very successful in the corporate realm, high incomes, high education, all that stuff. But then they decided at a certain point they wanted to start a dual career as an entrepreneur. And so, what I find with that group of people is that they're able to build around their passion.
Yes.
And I think that's extremely important and a great benefit because, in your corporate environment, you might not necessarily be able to build around your passion. You might not have the control to say, hey, this is my passion and I'm going to actually build an entire company or organization around that.
Right. I agree. And to just have the freedom of being able to do something you really do love.
Yes.
I feel like you love this thing when you're able to do it for free and still put just as much 100% as possible as you can.
That's right.
Than if you were to get paid for that, which is completely different from when you're working for another organization, because whether you're giving your 100% or not, you're still going to get a paycheck, right?
Right.
So you may like it, but you may not necessarily love it to that point where you would do it at no cost.
Absolutely. That reminds me of the tagline for your company: "Do what you love,
not what you must." Yeah. That's right.
And so a lot of my clients, they're doing what they must in terms of their corporate career, but then when they get into their own business, they're actually doing what they love.
Yes.
And you can see it makes a big difference.
Yes, and I just want to add one more point, is that sometimes you may not necessarily find the description within an organization that you want. The description of what is your ideal position of work that you would like. And sometimes you just have to create it for yourself.
That's right.
And who knows where that takes you.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
So that one is a big deal. The next one is, and I like this one, so another source of income that can be used to generate wealth. So let's think about that one for a minute. So you have a 9-to-5, and then you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start my own company. So the thing with Hubris, we have we call ourselves wealth managers. And the reason why is because we feel like a person's business, you shouldn't just have a business or shouldn't just exist. It should be a generator of wealth.
Yes.
And so just thinking about this, so you have one income in 9 to 5, and you have a second income. And so just thinking about this from a financial perspective, you know, if all your bills and necessities are being covered from your 9 to 5 employment, you could possibly take all of the money from your business and save all of that money, or even a portion of it, a large portion. So say you're able to make, starting out in your business, $1,000 a month, and you save $900 of that a month.
Yeah.
So that's money you could take to save for retirement. You could invest in stocks. You could use it. You could invest it back in the business. You could use it to purchase real estate. It just accelerates the wealth process, where if you just had the one singular income,
Right.
yes, you could be building wealth, but it might take longer.
And yes, absolutely. I do agree with that. And there's nothing wrong with having another business on the side, right? Working your 9 to 5 and deciding I want to also start a business.
Nothing wrong.
Sometimes, you know, a lot of times we feel that we have to choose one or the other.
Right.
And if you're not necessarily ready to just make the leap where you're just going to leave your 9 to 5 to start your business, it's okay to find time to work 9 to 5 and then do your 6 to midnight on your business as it continues to grow.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I first started out as an entrepreneur, I was very concerned about the fact that I wasn't doing the business full time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, over time, at that time, I matured and I started to realize, like, that's not really the most important consideration, because when you think about it, you have a lot of time outside of your job if you're able to manage it well.
I agree. Yeah.
And so many times the answer isn't necessarily just quitting your 9 to 5 and working in your business full time. It's just kind of organizing your time outside of the 9 to 5 and utilizing that time to run the business.
Absolutely. And as you know, probably in the first year of your business or before you actually start, right? There's a lot of personal development that goes into starting a business. So you may just your mindset may not necessarily be there yet, where you're able to handle having a full-time business. There's still some work that needs to be done with the shifting of mindsets and the building of networks, that transitional period before you actually do the business itself.
That is very true. The mindset piece is a big deal.
Yes.
And,
absolutely.
the employee mindset is a mindset. And like you just said, becoming a founder or CEO, it's a mindset shift.
It is.
It could take some time to get into the right frame of mind.
Yeah, agreed.
That's something to think about. So I think that was number 5. So number 6 is one that again is talking about money in a sense. And so this one is talking about, and we hear about this a lot. So reducing your taxable income by having a business. Big deal.
Okay, this is all your area.
So how do I reduce my taxable income? So for those of you out there who, and you can talk to your accountant about this or your financial advisor, but you can have a business. The IRS will allow you to write off business expenses. And so if you have an entity that allows the income to pass through, so like an LLC, so you're generating money from the LLC, but it's basically connected to all of your other sources of income, you can write off expenses related to the business and it will reduce your entire taxable income, which is a tremendous benefit because it allows you to get what you need for your business while also, simultaneously reducing the amount of taxes that you have to pay to the IRS. And so this is good, something good to talk to your accountants about, again, or your financial advisor. But this is a tremendous benefit because the opposite of that would be you have a business, you're spending money on your business, and you're not able to write anything off.
Okay.
And so in this country, one of the good things that we're able to do is to get those write-offs.
To get the write-offs.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have a business at all, right, it would just be basically you file for your W-2, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then you get something back, but you couldn't write off anything because you're working.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't have any business write-offs.
Right, no,
that's right.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's very true.
So it's a benefit. That is a benefit.
Definitely a benefit,
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
So I look at it as a dual benefit because you're able to get what you need, but then you're also able to impact your overall debt that you owe to the, or tax that you owe the IRS.
So can I get into that just a little deeper? What are some of
Sure.
the things that you probably could write off when it comes to your business? Someone who's just starting out.
So some of the things that people will write off is, you might need to buy another computer.
Okay.
A
A laptop.
You
Okay.
might want a MacBook,
Mhm.
or something. You can write that off.
Okay.
You're able to write off a percentage of meals, trips that are taken for business purposes,
Okay.
clothing that is purchased for business. There's a lot of things that you can write off. If you're utilizing your vehicle to run your business, there are certain things that you might be able to write off for that as well. And so
Fantastic.
there's a lot that you can write off, but again, it's best to seek the advice of a CPA, or a tax preparer, or
Yeah.
even a financial advisor. But yes, there's many things that you can write off.
Okay.
It could be something as simple as, like here we have a mouse for a computer. If it's
Okay.
used for business, it could be written off.
Written off. Fantastic.
What it comes down to really is just really keeping good notes and you need to be able to prove to the IRS that one, this item was used for business, and then two, like if you're saying you purchased the item, having proof in the form of a receipt to say, this is what I bought, here's the receipt, and so now I want to write it off.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
That's,
Okay. Business write-offs. That's a benefit.
yes,
Another
a
benefit.
big benefit. Yes.
Awesome.
And then the next one I had here, I was thinking this morning, I'm like, I want to really think deeper about what are the benefits of running, having a business. And I thought about this. So I wrote down control that can be used to strengthen your leadership skills. What do you think I mean by that?
Control.
That can be used to strengthen your leadership skills. And I'm relating this to the founder.
To the founder.
Yeah.
I would say I'm thinking of delegation.
Delegation? Okay.
Delegation. Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay. I'm also thinking about direction.
Direction? Okay.
Direction. Okay. Being able to lead the folks that are a part of the organization and to carry out our vision
Yes.
for the company.
Right.
And delegating, removing some things off my plate that other people on the team can handle as I'm carrying forward the vision. Those are the two things I'm thinking about.
Perfect.
Okay.
And that's what I
All
meant.
right.
So let's think about this. So again, for those of you who just joined, we're talking about the benefits of having a business, and we're talking about it in the context of people who have a 9-to-5, so they have a corporate career, and then they've made a decision at some point to start their own business, and we're talking about what benefits they might have. So I said control that can be used to strengthen your leadership skills. So on your 9-to-5 job, you may have leadership responsibilities, but they may be limited. Right? So you might have a very specific role. You may not be leading anyone necessarily. You could be managing people, which there's a difference there.
Definitely.
We can talk about that a little bit. But what I was trying to get to with this is because we talked about how powerful it is to be a founder.
Right.
So when you're the founder, you have to assemble the rest of the pieces for the team.
That's right.
Right? And so you have a large amount of control. And so because you have that control, you would have to strengthen your leadership skill and ability to bring all the pieces together and to get them to work together well enough to create a well-running business.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of forced to grow your leadership skills because we all have areas that we may need to work on. Like for example, with me, one big area I used to struggle in is delegation, like you mentioned. And so it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and do it myself. How many of you out there are constantly saying, you know what, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
That's great. And, with people like ourselves that are highly capable, that's cool to do that. But over time, you're kind of hurting yourself because it's like you're doing everything. And so you have to, it might take you getting a coach, someone like Betty to work on to figure out, what needs to happen for your delegation to get better. You might read books. I read books.
Yeah.
So at the time when I was coming up, I wasn't that aware of coaches per se, but I read a lot of books. And then I would just practice giving instruction to people that I was, working with on my team and my business. And then over time, I got better at it. But what I like is I had the control to figure out what I needed to become a stronger leader versus someone telling me, hey, I want you to take this training, I want you to do that, I want you to do the other thing.
That's just a different dynamic altogether.
It really is.
Yeah,
Yes.
having to be put in a position where you're forced to grow, and that really starting a business makes you do that.
It does.
You're going to grow. No, you just in your dealings in business, you are going to grow, and so your leadership skills, they you sharpen those skills
You do.
as you're building your business,
That is right.
which is another reason why it's so different from being a founder as opposed to a CEO. I
That's
feel
right.
like you're a lot stronger as a founder of an organization.
That's true, and I like that. We should probably do a talk one day just on the founder versus CEO thing.
I agree.
You know, when you think about it, that's why we were saying earlier that the founder is so powerful, because typically if we start a business, then we go through the life cycles of the business, then there's a certain point where we're like, you know what, I'm going to bring in someone else to be the CEO.
Yeah.
But when that CEO comes in, a lot of things have already been figured out.
Absolutely.
So you typically would have a solid business plan, a strategy, you would have a mission, a vision,
Right.
you have a team assembled. And so not that a CEO is an easy job, we're just saying that a lot of times by the time that person comes in, if it's a different person than the founder, a lot of initial things have already been figured out.
Yep. Actually, absolutely.
So that's something interesting to think about. And I always found it interesting. I see people always put CEO a lot of times before they will put founder.
Right. And I saw that probably a month ago on someone's social media where they said founder is different, totally different from CEO.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, of course it is. But when I went back and looked at my own stuff, I'm like, why did I just automatically put CEO when I'm actually the founder and owner of my business?
Yeah.
It's just become a popular trend to put CEO.
Yeah.
Right.
I always put founder first, but initially I don't think I knew why. But it just always resonated with me that I was the one who created this from my mind and brought it into existence. So I wanted people to know that.
Right.
And that's another thing when we talk about, we talk about when we first got started and working a job and kind of having this duality. I always wanted people, if I was working with them on my job, if they saw my profile, to know like, hey, this guy started a business. Like I was always proud about that.
Yes.
It was just a sense of pride. So that's something to think about. So I think we've covered all 7. I wanted to do a quick recap of what we came up with, though.
Yes, please.
So we talked about benefits of running a business within the context of someone having a 9-to-5 and then starting their own business. So we said add on to your legacy.
Yes.
Right? And, that also connects with your personal brand. So your personal brand becomes different when you're now a business owner. It just does. Like, people are going to look at you differently. It's just a different context.
Agreed.
So we talked about that when we talked about being able to build around your passion versus kind of working away from it.
Right.
And so many people that I work with that start businesses, they're very passionate about something, like yourself.
Yeah.
So you had an idea, you had something that you had been doing for many years, and then we just figured out how to continue to build and add on to that passion,
Absolutely.
which is very powerful. We talked about another source of income. This is something that I'm really big on in Hubris, so we use that term wealth management because our whole thing is if this business is not solid enough to potentially sell it to someone in the future, then we haven't done our job because it needs to be a wealth generator.
Right.
And let's just think about that for a second. That's a totally different way to approach a business than sometimes you commonly see. So even with Hubris, I'm always thinking I need to have the systems and infrastructure in place that this has a high value where I could sell this business to someone else in the future.
Right.
Now, not saying that I would do that, but I'm always approaching it with my own business and other my clients. This needs to have that sort of value so it could potentially be sold.
Right.
And that's a totally different approach sometimes.
Now, I want to ask you a question. I know we're coming on time, but I want to ask you a question about prices, for instance. So, a lot of people are starting businesses, and I'm loving the boom that, more and more people are coming out about their business and promoting that. So what about undervaluing the services or the products that you offer? How would you say that can potentially hinder your wealth building abilities?
Well, you and I have talked about this a lot of times. I mean, you're slowing down the process. Mm-hmm. So we know when we talk about wealth, we're talking about accumulating things of value. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we could talk about intangible things, but many times we're talking about money, other, assets that are tangible. Mm-hmm. So if you're undercharging with your prices, you're slowing down the process because you're not bringing in the revenue that can be taken and transferred into other vehicles.
Right.
So something that could take 10 years, if you're undercutting your own pricing, it could take 20.
Right.
Or it could take 30. It's simply because you're not charging at market rate, mm-hmm. or you're not charging in a way that really equates to the value that you're providing.
Right.
Your clients or your customers. And so that goes back to what we talked about mindset.
Yes.
So mindset, and we also talk about this a lot, but mindset it covers a lot of different things, because if you're not I won't even say the right frame of mind, if you're not in a different frame of mind as you continue to progress through your business, you won't feel like you are willing to charge what the actual value is.
Absolutely.
You won't do it. And that can hurt a lot of people.
Right. And so we should spend more time making sure that those prices are what they should be at market value.
Yes.
Yes, right?
And I'll say this is what I've found to be the issue with many people. And these are the things that you don't learn in an MBA program. There's a lot of people out there that have MBAs and they're great. I have it, it's fine. Yes. You learn a lot of valuable things, but there's some things you don't learn. And so what I work with people on is to figure out, why are you hesitant to charge what needs to be charged?
Right.
Right? And sometimes you just find out it could be, well, I don't think the process is strong enough. Mm-hmm. Or I don't really think that the marketing is conveying, I'm kind of embarrassed about how I look on Instagram or the way that my web, and I know it's funny, but it's like sometimes that can hold people back. They're like, well, I don't really want to charge because my website looks crazy.
Right. Yeah.
So we kind of uncover what's the real problem. Mm-hmm. And then so we try to go in and kind of shore that up for the person. And then they're usually more confident to say, you know what, I'm ready. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and charge, $1,000 an hour or $500, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But it's usually related to something in the ecosystem of their business that we need to kind of get them to feel more comfortable about.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes complete sense. And then on that note, I just want our founder Hubris Global Wealth Management with us today, who is talking about the benefits of owning a business. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Hubris Global Wealth Management, can you just touch a little bit on the services that you offer with the clients?
Yes. So Hubris, we talked about this earlier. The company has been around for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. I was in some other situations, decided to start my own company. Our tagline is leverage our audacity, achieve wealth. And I've been explaining to a lot of people recently, when I say our, I don't mean just Hubris as a company, our power together. Mm-hmm. So ourself and our client, that hour. Mm-hmm. That's audacious. And so we can achieve a lot with that. But some of the services that we offer, so we focus on 3 major areas. We focus on planning, strategy, implementation. So planning answers the question, what? So you're running a business, we have questions related to what? What is it that we're trying to do? Mm-hmm. Then it becomes, okay, we know what we're trying to do, how? So that's strategy. Mm-hmm. How are we going to get it done? And then the third phase is the implementation. So implementation is kind of there's 2 pieces to that, because it's like, okay, we know how, we know what, we know how, when are we going to get these things done, and who's going to do them?
Right.
And so we cover those 3 areas with our clients, and that breaks down into a lot of other services. I mean, we do executive coaching, we do strategy planning, business planning, and I have a financial background as well, and so it can break down into a lot of different things. But I like we segment it into planning, strategy, implementation, and we help our clients cover those areas.
Fantastic. And again, the reason, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. We definitely want to welcome you back because we have a lot more for questions that we have. We'll be sure to pass that on to you.
I'd love to come back.
And, we just want to let you all know why we wanted to touch on the topic of the benefits of business is because, as for those of you who are not familiar with Nelson Career Curators, we are a career coaching firm, and we definitely believe that career management goes hand in hand with financial management as well. So not all our clients would necessarily be working a 9-to-5, but if you are someone who's working a 9-to-5 who wants to eventually transition into entrepreneurship, or maybe you already are in entrepreneurship, then we help you get connected with resources, and while we're coaching you up to getting that mindset prepared for the journey that you're about to embark on. So that's a little bit about Nelson Career Curators. We, again, are so excited to have you on, Mr. McLeod from Hubris Global Wealth Management. Can you tell everyone where they can find you if they ever wanted to get in contact with your company or yourself?
Yeah, so Hubris Global Wealth, you can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, all of that stuff, Facebook and all of that. We don't post probably as much as other people do. Our business is mostly word of mouth, but you can find our email and all that stuff. Our website is being revamped, but it's hubriswealth.us. And you can always drop us a line, and we'd love to talk.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for joining us today. That's time. So we'll see you again next week. And guess what? Next week we're having another special guest. Wow. Okay? Yes. So we're going to keep this going every Friday at 6 o'clock. We're going to have guests come on. I already know who the next guest is, but you know me. I like to keep a little surprise.
You're not going to tell us who it is?
No, I'm not going to tell you guys who it is. We're just going to bring that person on and you're going to know. But we'll definitely tell you what the topic of discussion will be. Please make sure you like, share this live, comment any questions you have. And if you're not following Nelson Career Curators, make sure you hit that follow button. And make sure you're also following Hubris Global Wealth.
Yes, please do.
Okay, it's fantastic. Well, you guys have a great Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. And have a great weekend. Bye.
Peace.